Today we're taking a look at the Hunter BT 101 and 201 water timers. This is the single and dual outlet Bluetooth timer from Hunter. So starting off, we're looking at the Hunter BT 101. So this is the single outlet timer in the range. This timer has a 1-inch inlet, which can be converted down to a 3/4 inch with the supplied reducer. Also has a quick connect hose connector on the outlet, which can be removed to reveal a 3/4 inch male thread. So taking a look inside of the box, you'll find that you have the timer itself pre-fitted with the removable hose connector. You'll also have the user manual, and we always recommend that you take a look at this and just digest it to make sure you get all the tricks and tips for the timer, as well as all the wintering information. Hunter are nice enough to supply you with the 2 AA batteries that the timer needs. And you'll also have the reducer to bring your 1-inch inlet down to the 3/4 inch that most garden taps in the UK are. To start off, you're going to want to put your batteries into the timer. It's very straightforward. All you want to do is just flip your timer over, and you'll see there's a removable battery compartment here on the back. Just grab it by the 2 wings here and pull it out, and you should find it comes loose. Now, because of the rubber O-rings that are on this compartment, it can be quite tough to get out the first time. So if you're struggling with it, you do have to be just a little bit rough until it comes out. Then it's just a case of following the instructions on the case here to put your batteries in the correct way. Once your batteries are in, if you have a little look inside of the timer, you'll see where the ports are, and that will just inform which way this compartment goes back in. So in this case, it's actually with the batteries facing the inlet of the timer. Push it into position, and you should hear the timer open and close, just performing a quick check to make sure the batteries are okay. As this timer is entirely Bluetooth, you'll notice there's no buttons actually on the timer itself. All the programming is done via a smartphone or a tablet. So we'll just switch over now and give you the view of that, and we'll talk you through how to program it. So starting off, you're going to want to take your smartphone or tablet. We're going to assume you're already comfortable downloading applications on that. And the application we're going to want to download for this particular timer is the Hunter BTT app. You can just see the icon up the top left here of my phone. So what we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to open that app up to begin. Now that the app is opened up, you'll see under the Available tab, you can see we have our timer showing up there. If you're not seeing anything come up, it may be that you haven't got the Bluetooth enabled on your phone, so just double check that. And usually while you open the app, you'll get a few prompts just asking if the app can use your Bluetooth and maybe access your data, etc. So you just want to make sure that that's all enabled. In this case, our timer is showing up. So what we're going to want to do is just click on that. And you'll get a little loading bar just to say it's connecting. Now that we are connected, you'll see showing we're connected in the top with a green dot. It's giving us our battery reading, so giving us an idea of how much battery we've got, and now it's ready for programming. So to set up our auto scheduling, what we're going to want to do is just click on the auto button at the top here. And now it's just going to give us a few options on screen. So we have watering days. Now we can select the number of days between watering. So we can have any number of days here. You can just scroll through the options until you find the one you're happy with. We're just going to keep it on watering days 1. We're just going to hit save on that. Next, it's going to ask us for our start time. Now you can actually have 2 start times with this timer, and both are shown here. So we're just going to select start time 1. And again, you're just going to get some scroll options. We'll set it to start at 9:30 for the first watering cycle. There we are, and we're just hitting save again on that option. And then if we want a second start time, we can also add that by clicking start time 2. If we're not looking to use a start time too, we can also hit the remove button, and that will just set it to not set, so that just limits us to one start time a day. We'll leave it like that for now. Just under there, we also have a run time. So this will apply to both start times if you're using both. But you just want to click in there. And again, it's going to give us our scroll wheel. So we'll just set it for 1 hour and 15 minutes as an example. Obviously set it to whatever suits your irrigation system best. Once we're happy with that, just hit the save key and that will all be saved in. We may want to set a rain delay if it has been raining or is raining currently. That'll just delay the auto start time by whatever period we put in here. We're just going to leave it on 0 days at the moment. So that will mean from this point on, this timer is ready to work on automatic. And as soon as that 9:30 rolls around next, the timer will open and start watering. Once we've set that, that will be communicated to the timer, so that's all set and saved to the timer now, so we can actually walk away and the programming is done. So in addition to the normal timer settings that this app allows, it also allows a cycling section. So if we just click on that. Now how the cycling works is you set a period throughout the day, so you'll see we have a start time here as well as an end time. We've just got it so there's an hour between those two. We also have a cycling time and a soak time. And what that means is between the period of 8 and 9 o'clock, this timer will water for 5 minutes, then it will turn off for 10 minutes, and then it will water for an additional 5 minutes, and then soak for an additional 10 minutes, etc., until it reaches the end time. So this is almost like a multiple cycle feature, however it's just based on between a time period. It's a bit of a strange use case, but you may find that this is suitable if you've got particularly clay-like soil where you're finding that the water is sitting on the surface and eventually running off rather than soaking in. It just gives a little bit of a delay for the water to sink into the soil before more water is applied. So if you've got any more questions on that, you can speak to our team on it. It is a bit of a strange use case, but just let you know that this timer can do it. Lastly, the app allows you to manually water. This is just useful if you want to top up by maybe a few minutes each day. Really only applies if you're having a particularly hot day and your plants are just looking like they could do with an extra bit of water. To activate that, pop into your app and just press the manual button on the right here. You're going to get a scroll wheel like we have before, just asking you how long you'd like to manually water for. So just select your time period, we'll just say 5 minutes, hit the run button, and that'll open up the timer, wait 5 minutes, and then turn the timer off. So as I say, just a top-up feature on the timer. So in addition to the things we've just talked about, you'll also notice a little setting symbol just in the top right here. You can pop in there and actually rename your timer if you'd like to. It's particularly useful if you have multiple timers and you just want to indicate which ones are in the garden. So for instance, you may name one greenhouse for the one connected to your greenhouse system, flower beds, etc., etc. So you can change the name of the timer just up in that section there. Now we're taking a look at the Hunter BTT 201. This is very similar to the 101 in a lot of ways, with the difference being this includes 2 outlets rather than just the one, meaning you can connect up to 2 irrigation systems to this timer. Other than that, most of the features are the same, with it having a 1-inch female threaded inlet with an included reducer to bring that down to 3/4 inch, as well as 2 hose connectors on the outlets, which can be removed to reveal 3/4 inch threads. As with the 101, the 201 also uses 2 AA batteries. So inside the box, you'll find that you have the timer itself. You'll also find the user manual in there. We always recommend you take a look at this because it does include instructions on how to properly winterize the unit. You'll find the 1 inch to 3/4 inch reducer, and Hunter are nice enough to include the 2 AA batteries you'll need for your first season. So starting off with the timer, you're going to want to fit the batteries. To do this, what you want to do is just flip your timer over. You'll notice there's this back compartment here which can be removed. You just want to pull that out, and you'll notice you have a section here to install your batteries. Now, because of the rubber O-ring on this compartment, you may find that's very stiff to get out the first time. You do just need to be a little bit rough with it. So to start off with your timer, first thing you're going to want to do is fit your batteries. To do that, you want to flip the timer over and locate the battery compartment just at the back here. You want to pull that battery compartment out to reveal the section for the batteries. Now, there is an O-ring here which can make getting that battery compartment out a little bit tough the first time. Just give it a good pull, it will eventually come loose. Next, you want to fit your batteries as per the diagram at the bottom here. Once they're in, you can push this back into the timer. Now, you want to make sure your batteries are facing down on this timer so that the connection points connect. Push it until it clicks into place, and you should hear the timer cycle through both valves just to double check the batteries are okay. And now that timer is ready for programming. As this is a Bluetooth timer, you'll notice there's no buttons on the front of the timer. So to program this, we're going to need to use the BTT app from Hunter to apply all our settings. So you'll see now that we've got our smartphone here, we can start programming this timer. So first thing you're going to want to do is just use your app store on your chosen phone to download the Hunter BTT app, which we've got up here. Simply open the app. You might find that you get a few prompts just asking if the app can use the Bluetooth on your phone or access data. You're going to want to confirm that as you go through. Now that we've opened the app, we've got a list of options available here in regards to which timers we want to connect to. So on our list here, we can see we've got one available. We have got a previously connected to, which is just us setting up the single zone earlier in the video. But we're going to want to connect to this one that's showing as available just by clicking on it. There we are. So now we've loaded into the app and our app is talking to our timer. So you'll see we've got some options here in regards to zone 1 and zone 2. If you're ever unsure which one is zone 1 and zone 2, generally speaking, zone 1 will be the left and zone 2 will be the right outlet on the timer. So we're going to start with zone 1 to begin with. So to edit your zones, you're going to want to hit the little pencil just in the right hand side here. And it's going to bring us up some options. So water days refers to the time between watering cycles. You can see it's currently set to every day. I'm happy with that, I'm going to leave it, but if you did want to change it, you can simply click on it, and if you want to single out particular days, you can, or if you just want to allow a couple of days in between cycles, you can do that via the interval option. We'll leave it on every day just for now. So we're going to hit save. And now we have 4 options in regards to start times for our watering. So this can water per outlet 4 times a day. We're just going to start by setting our first start time. So in start time 1, I'm just going to press on it and we're going to get a scroll wheel that we can change. I'll set this to 9:30 just as an example. So I'm just scrolling. There we are, 9:30. Once I'm happy with my selection, I'm just going to hit save. Now, as mentioned earlier, we do have options for 3 more start times if we want. I'll set an evening start time as well. So I'm just going to go into start time 2 and we'll say 6:30 in the evening. So I'll choose that from my scroll wheel here and hit save. If I actually decided I didn't want a second start time, I can simply go back in and hit the remove button to cancel that off. Next option we want to look at is the run time. So the run time is going to apply to all start times. So you only get one option here. So we want to just set this from the scroll wheel. So I'm going to set it for 1 hour and 30 minutes, just in this example, and I'm going to hit save. Now at 9:30, the irrigation system on valve 1 will come on and it will run for 1 hour and 30 minutes. You do want to be careful with this, and you just want to bear in mind what valve 1 is doing, because that will limit opening valve 2. So you can't have the two valves overlapping so that they're both open. So just bear in mind what time you've got valve 1 coming on and for how long that's going to be open for. Once I'm happy with that, I can just use the little back arrow in the top left here to go back to our main menu. So zone 1 is set up. And now we'll just set up zone 2. So zone 2 is exactly the same. You just want to click on the little pencil icon just on the right side here, and that will load in. Again, we're going to leave this water every day, but just as before, we can exclude days or set intervals if we want. We're going to want to set our start time. So we know that zone 1 is starting at 9:30 and running for an hour and a half, which means we can't have this starting anywhere between 9:30 and 11 o'clock. So I'm just going to set it to 12 o'clock for an example, and I'm going to hit save. I'm not going to set multiple start times for this second valve either, but the concept is exactly the same as valve 1, so depending on what your system needs, you can do that. And now I'm going to set the run time. So again, pressing run time, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I'm pressing save. And now that's it. We've got both valves programmed. So one starting at 9:30 and watering for 90 minutes. Another one starting at 12 o'clock and again watering for 90 minutes. And they're going to do that every day. You'll notice from a few other options on the app here, in the top left-hand corner, we're seeing the display of the battery that the timer currently has installed. So if you're unsure whether the battery's getting a bit low, you can check that through the app. And in the top right-hand corner, we have a settings button. You can access that and rename the timer. If you have multiple in your garden, you might just want to make that easier to identify which is which. The water scheduling option at the bottom of the screen here is just going to give you a rundown of what the schedule looks like. So it's essentially your calendar. So if we click that, it's just showing me that both zone 1 and 2 are due to water every day, and it's giving me the number of minutes that they're running for. So it just makes it a bit easier to see exactly what the timer's doing across both valves. So a few things to mention about both timers here. Neither of these are suitable for frosty conditions, so you do want to make sure that once winter is rolling around, you want to be removing these from your tap. You'll also want to be removing the batteries over the time that it's stored, just to make sure that they don't leak, and giving them a good shake out. Now, we always recommend that you store them indoors within the home if possible, where conditions won't drop below freezing. If you are storing them in an outhouse or a shed where it could still get very cold, make sure you've given them a really vigorous shake out so that there's no water at all left in them, because if there is a little bit in there, it can still freeze and cause damage to the timer. You may also find with any tap timer that when you screw it onto your tap, you may find a little bit of leakage along the top connector. If you're finding that is happening, there's usually two ways you can sort that. First off is applying a little bit of PTFE tape to the tap first to allow a tighter seal when you screw the timer on. Alternatively, you can install an additional 3/4 inch washer into the top of the tap just to pad out the original washer. And that means when you screw it onto the tap, connection's made a little bit sooner and it just creates a nicer seal. You can find both of these timers on our website, easygardenirrigation.co.uk. If you've got any more questions regarding the timers, you can either leave a comment on this video or contact a member of our team. We're always happy to help and answer questions.